Hello, fellow mates. Today I'm here with fractions. We will be welcoming two special guests. Please welcome Brooklyn and Grace.
Hello.
Hi. The first question is, do either of you girls know the definition of this fraction?
Grace, you can have this one. Well, the definition of a fraction is a symbol such as 2/3, 5/1, or 8/5 used to name a part of a whole.
That is correct. 1 point for Grace. Okay, here's an example of a fraction. Do either of you girls know the numerator of this fraction?
I do. The numerator is always above the fraction line. In this case, the numerator is 8.
Perfect. This is going to be some competition, mates. The next question is, what is the denominator of this fraction?
The denominator of this fraction is 16. The denominator is always below the fraction.
That is extremely
below the line.
That is extremely right. Great. The next question is, do either of you girls know how to reduce or simplify this fraction?
I do. How you reduce or simplify a fraction is you say what number can go into 8 and 16. Well, we decided to divide it by 2, and this is the answers that we got. 4/8, but believe it or not, it can be reduced farther. 4/8, 4 divided by 2 is 2 for your numerator, and 8 divided by 2 is 4 as your denominator. Believe it or not, yet again, it can be reduced farther. You have 2/4 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 1/2 is the farthest that you can simplify this fraction.
That is correct. 1 point for Brooklyn. The next question is, what is a definition of a mixed number? And give me an example of a mixed number.
A mixed number is where there is a whole number and a fraction, like this mixed number. Here, the whole number is 3, and the fraction is 3/4.
Yes, very good. But I'm a visual person. Can you show me something like a picture?
See, you have 3 wholes, and you have 4 in all, and 3 shaded, so that's what gives you 3/4, your fraction.
Thank you very much. Now, let's see. Correct. Okay. Another point for Grace. The next question is, what is an equivalent fraction?
An equivalent fractions are 2 fractions that have the same value. Would you like an example?
Yes, I would.
Okay. An equivalent fraction is 2 fractions that have the same value, as I said, and here's an example. 72 is half of 144. So you have 1/2 is equal to this. It's kind of like reducing, because you can reduce this. We can reduce this to that, but it's also an equivalent fraction because they both have the same value.
That is correct. 1 point for Brooklyn. Hey, does anybody know how to get a greatest common factor of 16/32?
The greatest common factor of 16/32 is 8.
Sorry, but that answer is wrong. Grace, this is your time to shine.
The greatest common factor is 16.
That is right. Moving on. How do you compare two fractions?
How do you compare 2 fractions? Well, you have asked the right person. The way you compare 2 fractions is to cross multiply. I will now explain how to cross multiply. So say if you have, let's say 7/12. And you write your fraction, and you have 7/12 compared to 3/4. So now what you do is you have to multiply crosswise, as I said. You have 12 times 3, because you're going this way. 12 times 3 is 36, and 4 times 7 is 28. So then you have which one's greater than or least. This 3/4 is greater than 7/12.
Right. Next question is ordering fractions.
Okay, let's say you have 3/4, 5/9, and 6/8. First, what you would do is you would write your you would take away the denominator and find the greatest common factor, which is 72. You would write your fractions downward. Okay, so then what you would do is you would ask yourself, how many times can 4 go into 72? 8 times. 18 times. Which would give you 72. And then 18 times 3 equals 54. And then what you would do is 9, how many times can 9 go into 72? That would be 8 times 8 is 40. And then this 9 times 8 can go into 72 9 times. 54. Then what you would do is you would look at the numerator and then say which one is the least. That would be 40. So you would put 5/9, 5/9, and then these two are equivalent, so it doesn't really matter which order you would put it in. It could be 3/4 first, or it could be 6/8 first. And that's how you would order a fraction.
Sounds right to me. Have you ever added or subtracted a fraction with the same like denominator?
Never had and never will.
Now, don't say that. What about you, Brooklyn?
I have, and I bet if Grace tried, she could too.
Well, if you, my friend, know how, will you explain?
Yes, I will. It's just like adding whole numbers.
Example, please.
Well, if you have 6/12 and 5/12, here is what you would do. Since it's adding them with the same like denominator, you just bring over your 12 for your denominator. Rather than here, you would add 6 plus 5 for your numerator. So your answer would be 11/12. It's just the same way for subtracting fractions.
Very well, Brooklyn. Another point for you. The score is currently 4-4. Surprisingly, a tie. Now, don't get mad. Next question. How do you subtract or add a mixed number?
Grace, another one for you. Okay, thank you, Brooklyn. Well, I might as well start from step 1. Step 1. My problem is going to be 3 and 3/10 and 6 and 4/10. What you would do is you would then add your whole numbers first. 6 plus 3 equals 8. So 9 equals 9. So then what you would do is you would add your numerator. 3 plus 10 would 3 plus 4 would equal 7. And then what you would do is you would add you carry over your denominator, which is 10.
Absolutely. If you have 7/10, my bad, how would you convert that to a fraction?
Well, if you have 7/100 as a decimal, and if you convert it to a fraction, it would be 7/100. You kind of, the place value here, kind of makes sense. Hundreds, or 700s. It kind of makes sense that it would be 700 here.
Absolutely. Very good, very good. Bet you can't answer this question. What is the definition of a decimal?
It is another way of representing a fraction that contains the parts of a whole.
Outstanding! Now tell me, what is the difference of a proper fraction and an improper fraction?
Ooh, I know this one. Here's an example of a proper fraction and an improper fraction. A proper fraction, the numerator is less than the denominator. An improper fraction, the numerator is greater than the denominator. So 2/3, a proper fraction, and 6/12, an improper fraction.
That is correct. That is now, the score is tied. So see you next time, I hope.
Thank you for watching.